Hey, how's it going? Jason here, and today we're going to be talking about this holly again. Alright, so if you guys remember this holly in my previous videos, it's still in this ugly pot that it's been in, this planter that it's been in, but it's doing extremely well. I mean, you can take a look at it. It's got growth everywhere. I'm really happy with its development, but we're going to take a look a little bit closer and see what's going on. So this tree was cut back about 1 month ago, and you can see that there's quite a lot of growth on it now. I'm going to pull it out of this planter really quick just so you can take a look at it a little bit closer without just seeing this pot. So let's take a look. Alright, so the first thing you'll notice is how well the roots have grown into this pot. Originally, when I put it back into that planter, I put some fresh soil around it. Now you can see that it's pulling up basically everything with it, meaning the roots not only has the foliage grown on the top, but the roots have grown as well. And this was just cut back. I mean, we did those major cuts about a month ago. So you can see what happens when you have a really nice spring and the weather starts to warm up, what that can do to your tree. You know, I'll rotate it really quick so you guys can take a look. But it's basically completely grown in from every single side. Okay, I've moved up a little closer so you can take a look at it a little bit better, but you can see it's really full. But if I lift that up, you guys can see there's the root base right there. The trunk is nice and thick, and there's foliage all around this tree. Looks fantastic. So it's only been a month, and you can see how much growth has happened. So now it's like, what do we do? You know, at this point, what do we do? Remember, previously about a month ago, I put some wire, and you can still see it. You know, it's a little hard to see, but you can see some guy wire right here. Let's see if we can take a look. You can see some guy wire right there. And if you look inside the foliage there, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. It's just right in there. There's some wire on a branch that I want to bring down. There's another one right here on this guy right here. I don't know if you can see that right in there. There's some wire that I want to bring down as well. So at this stage, what are we supposed to do? What we want to do is, if this branch is not set, and it's only been a month, so most likely it hasn't, I'm not going to touch that wire. I'm not going to take it off. It's not eating in yet, so I'm just going to leave that there until it's fully established in that spot. The same with the guy wire that's right there. I'm going to leave that alone because that's bringing this one down until I'm 100% sure that's in the spot that I want it before I cut that off. So what I do with the rest of this, right now I've got way too much. So when this all comes out, you start to get tempted to start cutting it back. You know, you basically want to reach for your shears and then just start cutting away. You know, that's kind of the reaction that most people have is they see all this growth, they're like, I gotta cut it, and they start cutting away. Now the problem with that is that a lot of these branches here aren't lignified yet. So if you cut it back, you're not gonna get some buds coming in. Also, there's no woody growth in it. So if you touch it like this, it's really flexible. So this is all way too new. It's way too young to actually cut yet. So really the only thing you can do at this point, and it's the easy one, is just wait a little bit longer. Now what you can do is, if you've got some suckers on the bottom, which this one does, you know, those are branches that are coming off of the base that you know you're not going to need. Those ones you can cut off. So if you really have to cut something, cut those ones off. Now the reason we don't want those is because those are going to draw energy away from all this good stuff up here, so we don't want those anywhere at all. And those are easy to see because you're basically looking for branches that are coming off the base of your tree. And at first you're like, oh okay, we should save those because those might be branches, but no. Since you've already established which branches are going to be your first branch, second branch, and your back branch, which we did in the last video, you don't want to have to start all over again and choose another one. Otherwise, you have to wait for that one to grow to replace the one that you already decided was your first branch. Okay, so now that I've done that major pruning of those 4 branches, those tiny little branches, I can actually put away the shear. At this point, I'm looking at just a really hairy tree. It's got tons of foliage. Remember that cut that was made right here? So that cut that was made right in there, right there, is now completely covered by foliage. And that's exactly what I wanted, because I wanted to hide that cut. But also, more importantly, I've got these branches on the top right here, these ones coming out here, that are way too young to add wire yet, but these branches right here are going to be the ones that lay the foundation for that crown. Those are the ones that I'm going to end up putting wire on at some point when they start to get a little bit more mature, and I'm going to bring those down like that to create that crown. And then from those branches, I'm going to get new growth that's going to fill in that spot right there, and that's how you create the apex of the tree. So this tree is developing really nicely. I really like how it's coming out. I really like that the base is nice and thick. The Ilex promontory has these really tiny leaves that just complement the trunk so well, and it makes it easy to make, since it's got those tiny leaves, it's in proportion to the trunk, and it really makes the tree look like it has some age, just because the proportions are there. As you go in and do some more pruning, these leaves can actually get smaller. Right now, all we're doing is waiting for these to mature. Then I'm going to cut back to the pads, and then I can really define exactly how I want those pads to develop. Then I'll be able to get rid of all this excess stuff that's going everywhere and find exactly what I want. Now remember, in the previous video, you can see that, you can kind of see there's an empty space right around this area. And that was that big empty space in the video where I wired this branch down, and then there was nothing here. But now I've got tons of branches to go with. This one over here, I gotta be careful because they're a little bit young. I've got this one over here. I've got this one, which is going to be ideal. This one right here, this tiny young one right here, that's going to sweep down into this spot, and it's going to fill in that whole empty gap. And I'm going to let that grow out. Once I wire, I'm going to let that grow out even more so it can lignify and get a little bit thicker. And then from there, I can develop all the secondaries from that one. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that little update on this little tree. I think it's coming together really nicely. I think it's going to be a really nice tree, especially with this base right here. I think the foliage is coming in really nicely, and it's extremely healthy. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this develops in the next 2 months, and I'll make sure to post an update. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Leave me a like if you thought the video was helpful. Hopefully this gives you some guidance on some of the trees you have at home. Otherwise, thanks for watching.